really thought we were going to see some top level villainy this episode. But instead we got a little bit of racism, some hubris, and some strange coincidences. Spoilers if you aren't up to date with the Acolyte. In my opinion, there was too much build up for the Jedi's participation in the witch's death. This Padawan killed himself because he felt so guilty. I thought that they committed genocide because they didn't understand what the witches were doing. And while yes, Soul did kill the mother because he was being a little bit racist, this thing that she was doing seemed really dangerous. I think a bigger lesson that was trying to be told here is that when people of authority are ignorant to different cultures, those cultures are at risk. Soul became obsessed with May and taking down the witches because he didn't understand the witches' culture. It's interesting to see the way that he connected with Osha versus May, because it's established that the only difference between them is that mark, as they have some light personality differences. That blood test confirmed that they are quite literally the same exact person, down to their force levels. But once Soul sold that mark on May, she was cooked. Have the Jedi always been this sex averse? Because this show has given me the impression that the dark side is like sexual deviance. Between Manny getting butt naked so he could start to convince Osha to join him, to the scene where she takes the Padawan, which felt very sexually charged, like an older woman taking his virginity. When he finally got possessed, it looked like an orgasm to me, and I don't know, maybe I just have a dirty mind, but I was a little shocked. I never connected the dark side with sexuality because they didn't really look like this. Like Palpatine and Vader did not give me these vibes. I did like the twist that Indara was the level head in this entire situation. He was the one consistently telling them to chill. You could see that Soul was so thirsty to get a Padawan that he would do anything to get May in. I know, I saw a lot of people complain that May was too old to be a Padawan, and I'm glad that she brought it up in this episode. A lot of the complaints that Star Wars fans have about this show is being explained in later episodes. While I don't think this is the best Star Wars property I've ever seen, it has nothing to do with its connection to the lore and more about its storytelling and writing. The fact that May was able to burn down that entire stone fortress by setting a journal on fire? What kind of wiring they got in there? Like, what? Also, I found the Coven's death a little confusing. Did they die when Indara broke the connection with not Chewbacca? Or did they die in the fire because they were left there unconscious? Honestly, the only two people that I think should feel a little bit guilty is not Chewbacca, who was brainwashed at the time, but I definitely understand why you would feel away, and Soul, who killed an innocent woman because he thought her magic was dangerous. One thing is for certain, the Acolyte still holds some of the best fight scenes in the Star Wars franchise. I love the way that they actually use martial arts and the Force in conjunction with their use of the lightsabers. Like, this is an afterthought, and I think that's very cool. I will note that Soul was able to incapacitate this man with a lightsaber when he just killed this woman who was just a little bit of dust. But beyond that, what should have been the most interesting episode of the series fell a little flat for me. I found myself just wanting to see Manny Jacinto's titties again. Once again, I'm gonna have to give this episode 3 out of 5 Frankie butts. Just falling off so much from that incredible premiere, and the big reveals just aren't hitting like that. I want so much more from this series, and I know they got it in them, so let's see what they got next week.